The all-new refresh to the American Express Gold Card just went live earlier today, and while I will be going over all the updated changes, new features that were added, and the new card design, the main focus of today's video is to help you answer the question, should you consider opening up the American Express Gold Card for yourself, or keep it open if you already have the card? Now, the main reason I'm posing this question is because the American Express Gold Card refresh brought along with it a new annual fee of $325 for this card, making it one of the most expensive credit cards out there that you can open. And so I wanted to take a deep dive to see how much value can you get from this card when you first originally open the card, as well as when you keep it open for years later on down the line. Now, I know the design of the card art has no effect in terms of the value you're going to be getting when you open this card or keep it open, but this is definitely one of the main updates and changes people have been talking about when it comes to this refresh. And I definitely think the new card art worked, as I've already gone ahead and ordered it for both of my American Express Gold business cards, which you can expect to see an unboxing for tomorrow. But with the major visual changes out of the way, let's take a closer look under the hood of all the new changes and updates that the new refresh brought along to the American Express Gold Card. The main change everyone's been talking about is, of course, the increase of $75 a year for the annual fee, bringing it up to $325 a year for you to hold this card. And so with that increased annual fee, of course, American Express is going to give you some different ways to recoup the cost of that annual fee. One of them is going to be a new elevated welcome offer of 60,000 MR points plus 20% back up to $100 at restaurants in your first 6 months of card ownership. As far as credits go, the $10 a month Uber Cash credit is still there. Another credit that's coming back to the card is the $10 a month food credit, but there are some slight changes. You can no longer use this food credit at Shake Shack or at Milk Bar, as these restaurants will be getting dropped from the card, as these restaurants will be getting dropped from the credit later on in September. They have added Five Guys in the replacement of Shake Shack though. There are two new credits coming to the card, the first one being a $7 a month Dunkin' Donut credit, and the other being a $50 semi-annual Resi credit that can get you up to $100 back when you use it at Resi restaurants. There are still no lounge access perks or benefits. You cannot use this card to buy your way into the Centurion Lounge, or you don't get access to any of the Delta Sky Clubs. Kind of crazy considering this is around half the price of the Platinum card, and you still get none of the lounge perks and benefits. Lastly, you will be getting 4x points back at supermarkets and grocery stores up to $25,000 per year, and you'll still be getting that famous 4x points back at dining and restaurants. But now with this refresh, it is capped up to $50,000 to spend each year, and then after that, you'll be getting 1x points back on all of your restaurant purchases. If you're familiar with how American Express allows its holders of the card to recoup that almost $700 a year annual fee, you'll most likely see some similarities between the new Gold Card and the current American Express Platinum card. That similarity being this is turning into another similar coupon book, meaning you have multiple monthly statement credits you have to keep track of in order to ensure that you're able to recoup that new increased annual fee. Some people who love maximizing value from their credit cards are going to have no problem remembering to use these credits each and every month to get maximum value, whereas other individuals who might not be on top of things as much might forget a few months to use their credits. And so with these new changes, I could definitely see that second group of people not being nearly as inclined to open this card or keep it open if you already have it. And if you do happen to be interested in applying for the American Express Gold Card yourself, well, then I'll leave a link at the top of the description to the new elevated public welcome offer. And this is an affiliate link, so using it to apply for the card greatly helps support me and the channel. And so a massive thanks in advance. And so again, trying to answer that question, should you open the card or keep it open? I've gone ahead and calculated the average value that you can expect to get from opening the card the first year, getting a retention offer in the second year, and continuing to hold the card for 3 years or more. And so for this first year, assuming that you get the 60,000 point MR welcome offer plus the 20% back up to $100 at restaurants, this welcome offer should be worth around $1,300 in value. Now, the way I came to that is MR points are typically valued around 2 cents per point, meaning that your 60,000 points you earn from the welcome offer will be worth around $1,200 in travel if you're able to transfer them out to one of American Express's many travel transfer partners. And just to compare the value of American Express MR points against other point currencies out there, they're basically tied for first, being almost the most valuable credit card points and mile currency out there, only having Chase and Bill rewards beating them out by just a fine margin. And so assuming on average, if you're able to completely max out the welcome offer, you'll get around $1,400 back in your first year. We can add that on to the value of the credits you'll be able to get in your first year of card ownership. The Uber Cash and food credit will give you a combined $240 a year in total value, whereas the Dunkin' Donut credit will give you back $84 in value, and the semi-annual Resi credit will give you $100 a year back in statement credit, equaling a grand total of up to $424 a year in statement credit back on this card. Now, it's important to note that everyone doesn't value these credits the same. As for me, I don't live anywhere near a Dunkin' Donuts, and so I don't ever see myself potentially using this credit, whereas I would definitely use the Uber Cash, the food credit, as well as the Resi semi-annual credit. So right there for me, that would be around $340 a year in value, just barely edging out the annual fee of $325. And so it's going to be important for you to sit down and think, how often will I actually use these credits or get real value out of it? Assuming you take full advantage of the welcome offer and the credits, your first year value of holding this card is going to be a little over $1,700 in value, which really isn't bad when you consider that, again, this is a $325 a year card to hold. And so you're coming out almost $1,400 ahead. Next, we can go and take a look at the amount of value that on average you might be able to get in your second year of card ownership. Now, again, we have the maximum of $424 a year in statement credits, but what's different this year is we're obviously not getting that welcome offer because that is a one-time thing with these personal cards, but instead we can use a little fancy trick called a retention offer to get something similar to a welcome offer without having to open a new card. A retention offer is where after the first year of card ownership, you basically contact support and say, hey, I'm not sure this card aligns with my spending habits. I'm considering canceling. Is there any way that you all at American Express can give me some sort of retention offer where if I spend, like in this example, $3,000 more in purchases within 3 months of accepting the offer, then I'll be getting 30,000 points. You obviously wouldn't be that straightforward about what offer you're seeking, but it seems like in most instances, Amex will give you some sort of retention offer between 20 and 40,000 points, depending on how valuable they see you as a customer. And so if you're able to secure that retention offer for a year or two, that's going to be on average around 30,000 MR points after spending $3,000 in the first 3 months. Using the same 2 cents per point value we previously used, that'll make this retention offer worth around $600 in travel when you've transferred out these points to their various transfer partners. And so for year 2, assuming you can also use the credits to their fullest potential, you'll be earning a little over $1,000 in value, again, for a card that only has a $325 a year annual fee. Adding up the value you're getting from year 1 and year 2 of card ownership while also subtracting the annual fees you're paying each of those years, you're still getting around $2,200 in value from this card, which is pretty insane when you lay it out like that. And so regardless if you spend a ton of money on groceries or eat out at restaurants every single week, with just the welcome offer and retention offer, that'll be making up the main bulk of your value that you're getting within the first 2 years of card ownership. And so unless you're garnering your Chase 524 status, then opening up the American Express Gold Card, if you don't already have it, seems like it makes a decent amount of sense. But what about after year 2? What kind of value can you expect from this card? Well, unfortunately, retention offers are kind of a one-time thing or once every 3 to 5 year offer. You can't go back to American Express every single year and say, hey, give me more points. I'm thinking about canceling my card. And so from years 3 and beyond of card ownership, you're going to be limited to that $424 a year in credits that you're earning. But even subtracting the annual fee of $325, you could still be coming out ahead almost $100 a year in value. And again, that's not calculating any of the points you're earning from spending on this card, most likely at restaurants or at grocery stores. But just assuming you never use this card for anything, you gain no additional points, but you take advantage of all the credits, there's still $100 back in your pocket every year. And it now makes this a positive effective annual fee credit card, which is pretty cool to see. And so looking at all 3 years from a bird's eye view, each year the card is still going to cost you $325 a year to hold the card. That's simply not changing. What's also not going to be changing is the $424 a year you'll be getting back in statement credits. But what is going to be changing in year 1, of course, you get that $1,300 in welcome offer value. The second year, you're able to obtain probably on average around $600 in the retention offer value. But for year 3, that value dries up. And so from year 3 and beyond, it ultimately just comes down to your spending habits. And if you're able to take advantage of all of the credits, perks, and benefits that this card offers. So I hope this helps answer your question. Should I open the card or should I keep the card open if I already have it? In my opinion, year 1 and year 2 of this card ownership, as long as you're not spending outside of your means and purchasing items you wouldn't have normally purchased to meet the minimum spend for the welcome offer and the retention offers, then you're still coming out ahead quite a lot of money, even assuming you don't use a single one of the credits through the first 2 years of card ownership, which realistically probably won't happen. You will be using at least a few of these credits each and every single month. But year 3 and beyond, you're really just going to need to sit down and reflect and say, hey, do I use these credits? Do I go to these restaurants? Am I actually getting real value from this card? And if you aren't, it is totally okay to cancel the card if you're losing money each and every year by holding it. And being transparent, I don't personally hold the American Express Gold card, but I do plan on applying for this card later on this year. I'm really just working on garnering my Chase 524 status. And also the new family language that American Express has implemented. If you think to yourself, nah, I'm not going to apply for the Amex Gold card, I'm just going to skip all the way to the Platinum card, well then you'll be basically locking yourself out of any future potential to get the welcome offer from the Amex Gold card. Whereas for me, although I really can't take advantage of these multipliers that much, I still really want to take advantage of the year 1 and year 2 value this card offers and then move on to the Platinum card. And so I thought I'd just give you all a heads up. But definitely let me know down below in the comment section what your thoughts are on this card refresh. It affects everyone in different ways, and I know a lot of people who are keeping the card and a lot of people who plan to cancel this card. But what do you think? After all these changes, are you going to be keeping the Amex Gold card in your wallet? And if you made it this far in the video and got any sort of value from watching, then a like would be greatly appreciated, and I can already tell you that you're going to absolutely love this next video right here, so go ahead and check it out.